Welcome to China Gateway. This is China Brand Stories, where we explore how the world connects with China, one brand at a time. And today, well, we're diving into a really massive shift in the car world. You've probably heard of Tesla.
Right.
But did you know the world's top-selling electric vehicle brand in 2024? It wasn't actually Tesla.
Yeah, that's the big surprise for a lot of people. It felt like the torch was passed. That top spot, just looking at pure battery electrics, went to China's BYD. That stands for Build Your Dreams, by the way.
Build your dreams, okay.
So BYD produced roughly 1.78 million pure EVs in 2024. Just edged out Tesla. But here's the kicker. If you add in their plug-in hybrids, what they call new energy vehicles, or NEVs, their total volume jumps way up, over 4.2 million for the year.
Wow, 4.2 million NEVs. That's just staggering volume. Especially when, wasn't BYD mostly known for electric buses just a few years back? How did they manage this almost quiet rise to the top?
That's exactly what we're digging into. It wasn't like this flashy Silicon Valley disruption story. BYD's dominance comes from, well, decades of really focused strategy, vertical integration, hardcore cost control, and this almost prophetic early bet on battery tech itself.
Okay, let's unpack that. We should probably start right at the beginning. Shenzhen, 1995. Not exactly a glamorous start, was it?
Not at all. Super humble origins. It was founded by Wang Fu, February 95. Started with maybe 20 employees and around $300,000 in borrowed money.
And Wang, he had a background in chemistry, right? A master's degree.
Exactly. And that science background really shaped their first move. Batteries. Not cars, batteries.
Right, for things like mobile phones, electronics, that whole boom.
Yeah, and their strategy was, well, pretty direct. They basically took apart batteries from the big Japanese players back then.
Like Sony and Sanyo.
Spot on. They reverse engineered them, figured out the chemistry, the manufacturing, everything. Then they worked out how to make similar ones, but much, much cheaper.
Okay, reverse engineering. Is that just a nice way of saying copying? How did they manage that and scale up so fast?
Well, they focused relentlessly on process, on volume. By the early 2000s, they were already the biggest rechargeable battery maker in China. They were supplying something like half the world's mobile phone batteries.
That's the world.
And Wang Fu, he saw the next step early. He's quoted saying something like, the bottleneck for EVs is the battery, master the battery tech, and you set the course for the whole industry.
That foresight explains the big pivot in 2003 then. Buying that struggling car company, Xinquan Automobile, for what, $38 million?
Yeah, a pretty bold move for a battery company, really.
Yeah.
A chemical engineering firm jumping into car manufacturing. And since they didn't have car design expertise, they did the same thing again, essentially.
Took cars apart.
Yep. Bought secondhand cars from all over the world. Their engineers dismantled them, studied them. They apparently really admired Toyota's engineering, wanted to learn from the best.
And it worked. Their first car, the BYD F3 sedan, in 2005. That was a huge hit in China.
It was. Sold over 1 million units. A low-cost, reliable option. But they didn't just stick to cheap gasoline cars. They moved into electrification really early.
Like the F3DM hybrid in 2008.
Exactly. That was arguably the world's first mass-produced plug-in hybrid. It came out even before things like the Chevy Volt. Then they had the E6 pure electric crossover around 2010, mostly used in taxi fleets at first, proving the tech worked in the real world.
And then came the big moment in 2008. Warren Buffett. Berkshire Hathaway buys a 10% stake.
Right, for $230 million. That was massive. Huge validation on the world stage. Really put them on the map for global investors.
They have them serious credibility.
It definitely helped cement them. But the really decisive strategic move, that came much later, 2022.
What happened then?
They announced they were stopping production of traditional gasoline-only cars completely. Full focus on new energy vehicles, BEVs, and PHEVs.
Wow, just cutting off gasoline entirely. That sounds incredibly risky. Weren't they worried about losing sales?
It probably was risky, but it signaled this absolute focus. While everyone else was kind of hedging their bets, gas, hybrid electric BYD went all in. All their R&D, something like 40,000 people, all their factories, marketing, everything pointed towards NEVs. That singular focus let them streamline, cut costs, and eventually hit those massive production numbers.
And speaking of control, that vertical integration thing, that seems core to their strategy, making everything themselves.
That really is their secret sauce, yeah. Motors, controllers, batteries, and crucially, even their own semiconductors.
Making their own chips, that's pretty unusual for a car company, isn't it? How does that give them an edge?
Well, think about power electronics. Their subsidiary, BYD Semiconductor, makes things like IGBT chips.
IGBT?
Insulated gate bipolar transistors. They're basically high-power switches controlling energy flow between the battery and motor. Most car makers buy these from outside suppliers. Because BYD makes them in-house, they weren't hit nearly as hard by those recent global chip shortages that crippled so many other automakers. It gave them independence.
Okay, so control over the chips, the brain. But the heart is the battery. Let's talk about the Blade battery. That came out in 2020.
Yes, the Blade battery. It's a big deal. It uses LFP chemistry, lithium iron phosphate.
LFP, that's the one without cobalt and nickel. Right, makes it cheaper.
Exactly. Big cost advantage there. And the Blade name comes from the design. The cells are long and thin, arranged like blades in the pack. This design is simpler, safer, and uses space much more efficiently within the battery pack.
And the safety aspect was a big selling point too, wasn't it? That nail penetration test.
Right. They showed videos where they puncture the battery pack with a nail, a really tough test, and it doesn't overheat or catch fire. That addresses a major safety concern people have had with some other types of lithium-ion batteries. So you get lower cost and high safety. It's a strong combination.
So they've got the chips, the battery. They also developed their own platform, the ePlatform 3.0, with faster charging.
Yep, an 800-volt system for quicker charging, a modular drive unit, the whole package. And they do their own software too, D-Link.
Ah, the system with that giant rotating touchscreen everyone talks about.
That's the one. Runs on Android, includes their driver assistant system, D-Pilot. They really are building the whole ecosystem, not just assembling parts.
Which brings us back to the big question. How did all this tech and control actually let them outsell Tesla in pure EVs?
Well, a few key things. First, look at the product range. Tesla has, 4 or 5 main models? Mostly premium.
Right. Model 3, Y, S, X, Cybertruck.
BYD has dozens. Across multiple brands, Dynasty Series, Ocean Series, the premium Denza brand with Daimler, even the super luxury Yangwang U8 off-roader. And at the other end, you've got things like the Seagull Mini EV, which costs around $11,000 in China. They cover basically every possible price point and segment. Tesla just doesn't play in many of those spaces.
So huge portfolio breadth. What else?
The hybrid strategy, this was critical. Tesla is pure electric only. BYD leaned heavily into plug-in hybrids, their DMI tech.
DMI, dual mode intelligent.
That's it. These PHEVs were a bridge for customers worried about charging or range. You get decent electric range for daily driving, but the gas engine is there for longer trips. They sold, 1.4 million PHEVs in 2023 alone. That volume is huge, and it met customers where they were, especially in markets with less developed charging infrastructure.
And because they make everything in-house, they can just be way more aggressive on price, right?
Absolutely. That vertical integration allows massive cost control. You see it internationally. The BYD Atto 3 SUV often sells for roughly half the price of a Tesla Model 3 in markets like Thailand.
Half the price, wow.
They're focused on volume and value, making EVs affordable for more people, for fleets. It's a different game than Tesla's premium focus.
And they have the manufacturing scale to back it up.
Massive scale. Over 30 industrial parks that can just ramp up production incredibly quickly. Hitting over 4.2 million NEVs in 2024 shows those economies of scale are really kicking in.
Okay, so they conquered the Chinese market, but now they're going global in a big way. Before the cars, though, people might have seen their buses.
Definitely. BYD was already the world's top electric bus maker. You see them in London, Los Angeles, cities all over. That experience built international relationships, supply chains, brand awareness, sort of paved the way for the passenger cars.
And now the cars are following. Europe, for instance.
Yeah, started in Norway back in 2021, expanding fast into Germany, Sweden, across the continent. They even briefly outsold Tesla in monthly EV registrations in Europe around April 2025.
Briefly outsold Tesla in Europe. That's a milestone.
It is. And they're planning a factory in Hungary. That helps them localize, avoid potential tariffs, really become a European player.
In Southeast Asia. That seems like a stronghold.
Huge market share there, yeah. Over a quarter of the EV market in some periods. Their strategy involves partnering with big local groups like Siemens Darby or Ayala for quick distribution. Plus, they're building a big $500 million factory in Thailand. Focus is on affordable models like the Dolphin and Atto 3.
Latin America, too.
Market leader there as well, especially Brazil. They actually took over an old Ford factory in Bahia State. It's a big statement. Allows them to build locally and offer EVs around the $20,000 mark.
It's interesting. They're competing hard, but they also collaborate. Like the Denza brand with Daimler and supplying batteries to Toyota.
Right, for the Toyota BZ3 sedan, it shows they're becoming deeply integrated, They're both a rival and a key supplier in the global auto industry now.
Now, we have to talk about the role of Chinese government support in all this. It wasn't just BYD's brilliance in isolation, was it?
No, definitely not. That context is crucial. China's industrial policy for new energy vehicles has been incredibly supportive. We're talking an estimated $230 billion in various forms of support between 2009 and 2023.
$230 billion. What kind of support are we talking about?
Well, direct subsidies for buyers, tax breaks like skipping the 10% vehicle purchase tax, things like that made a big difference. And in big cities, getting a license plate for a gasoline car can be super expensive and difficult. But NEVs often got free or priority plates. In Shanghai, that perk alone could be worth like $15,000 US. Huge incentive.
And there was also that dual credit policy. How did that work?
Right, the dual credit mandate. Basically, automakers had to produce a certain percentage of NEVs or achieve certain fuel efficiency targets. If they didn't meet the quotas, they had to buy credits from companies that exceeded them. And who exceeded them by a lot? Companies like BYD focus purely on NEVs. So it effectively transferred money from traditional automakers to NEV specialists like BYD. A very powerful mechanism.
So you put BYD's strategy together with these strong policy tailwinds, and you get this story. It really feels like a symbol of China shifting from just making things cheaply to genuine innovation, right? Quietly overtaking the West in some areas.
It does feel symbolic, and it happened under this very low-key, engineering-driven CEO Wang Xuanfu, quite different from the more, let's say, flamboyant leadership styles we see elsewhere.
The focus is on the product, the execution.
Exactly. And BYD frames its mission globally in those terms too, helping to cool the Earth by 1 degree, so aligning with climate goals, positioning China as a green tech leader. Their rise really shows that the future of the auto industry might not belong to the old guard. These new vertically integrated players from different parts of the world are serious contenders. So I think the core takeaway for you listening is this. BYD didn't win the EV volume race by playing Tesla's game. They chose a different path. Breadth over niche focus. Embracing hybrids as a bridge, relentless cost-cutting through making almost everything themselves, just executing day in, day out. They made the EV revolution accessible to more people globally.
That really puts it into perspective. And it leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If the world's biggest EV maker could emerge, almost quietly, from a small battery workshop in Shenzhen over decades of steady engineering-led work, where's the next big disruption in transportation going to come from? This story definitely proves the race is wide open.
Thanks for joining us. This is China Gateway, where we explore how the world connects with China one brand story at a time.